I can't hear you. I'm gonna leave out and come back in. See if it's my phone.
Can you hear me now? Can anybody hear me? Okay, let's get this started again. This is DFG. I'm the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce. I'm coming to you live from the 571 where I'm having fun. Not really, but I'm also getting things done. To start this show off, I'm going to pass it off to Chocolate Pearl, my favorite girl. Holla at your boy. Chocolate Pearl. Can you hear me, Chocolate Pearl? Well, she's having technical difficulties, which is indicative of today's show, it seems. Also, the lady at Sweet as Snapple, Miss Apple, was on. She dropped off. She's going to come back on. Also, we have our usual family, Miss Kim, and our resident thespian, Miss Summer. Um, also, we have those out there in YouTube land, in TikTok land, in Facebook land, and Instagram land. Also, I'm on Rumble as well as Twitch. I'm spreading out. The media is there. This week, I'm kind of on my behind, but I'm gonna push it forward. Good evening, Miss Nikki on YouTube land. Uh, Strata member of the family. This week, if y'all didn't know, there was a unaliving in Charlotte. Um, there was a Ukrainian immigrant, of course, unmelanated, and she was unalived by a career criminal of who happened to be black and had a long history of mental illness and um, a lot of mental illness and criminality. His mother had tried to get him help, had him committed, etc. However, that didn't stop him from doing what he did. Now, usually, usually it's, we want to talk mental illness, but when it comes to people of when it comes to foundational Black Americans, especially, we don't get that. We don't get that grace. Of course, what he did was reprehensible and heinous, and if found guilty, which he probably will be, um, he'll be receiving justice. But notice what the people who don't like people like us are saying, that they're feeding into that criminality narrative when they were quiet about the race of the person who unalived those children in Milwaukee or Minneapolis, or yeah, I think it was Minneapolis. You know, school shooters. They want to say, you know, thoughts and prayers then, and you know that person was mentally ill, which they were a follower of the president, and just shows you. Also, also this week, Mr. Um, his touchy-feely scandal's not going the way he wants it to. He's trying to bury it under sending National Guard troops to different areas, different counties and stuff like that that are highly Democratic and Democratic run states, even though those are not necessarily the places with the highest amount of crimes. So he's doing all of this to divert attention from him being caught, you know, on that special list that they acknowledge and deny at the same time. Chocolate Pearl, can you hear me now? What do you
Yeah.
what do you think about it?
Uh, I'm sorry. I was trying to still be there for you, but I'm in the process of moving now. What was the question? Hello.
Um, I was saying with the president trying to get
Oh,
the
you were right
president
about
trying to
the
get out
baby.
of his way with the Epstein files and all that stuff's going on. What do you think is will his base still forgive him for that, or will they do something else and move them and try to get past that?
I personally think that the way he is diverting everything, the attention from trying to divert the attention from him, that he feels that that the people are gonna like fault him or make or against him. That's why he's trying to divert it. But be honest with you, the way they're not standing up and making sure that they find out what's in those files and they feel that he's innocent, why don't they just show it? But I think that him himself, they will crucify him if they find out the truth. Or that, because I think they already know. I think that if they let it out into the public, they know that he's going to get crucified. Why he's diverting. However, I personally think that his truth and nail for him. Like
Well, that's kind of odd. I agree with you on that. People are people are not doing what they need to do, and they just want to believe what they want to believe. However, we have to look at it the way it is. Have you seen the news about that Ukrainian lady that got unalived on the train in Charlotte?
no, I didn't.
There was a Ukrainian immigrant that got unalived by a career criminal who happened to be foundational, and all of the president's followers are trying to make it a racial thing instead of what it is, a mentally ill person attacking a random person. Then that's they're trying to make something out of something that happens every day, that people do stuff like that. But if
Wait,
it's
wait,
I
wait.
guess it
What's
wasn't a school
foundational?
shooting, and she wasn't she was one of those people.
I'm missing foundational means what?
Foundational Black Americans, people who live here,
Oh, okay. And what do those people refer to what?
as opposed to those and I gotta explain this. Foundational Black Americans are the ones who were in most were enslaved or in bondage during that time. Um, that's most of those descendants that are still here.
Okay, I didn't know that was a thing. I must be old.
Well, in your case, you're definitely Black American. There's no doubt about that. And even though you were born in Jamaica, you're American through and through. Whereas what it is that there's a kind of derisive term called tethers, where people from the diaspora and people from the Caribbean come and think that they're better than native born black folks here that have been here. And even though, we in the end we all black, they haven't fully understood or refused to understand what truly being black in America is like. I'll give you an example. Um, Marcus Garvey was born in Jamaica. He lived in the United States, but he knew he was black, and he was about black unity. Um, Candace Owens is what we would call a tether. Though she has the skin color, she's not. I mean, she ain't gonna be invited to any picnics anytime soon. Am I making sense?
Yes, yes, you are.
And that's what I mean by foundational. If you understand what black people have been through and understand the struggle and understand the disadvantages that we were put under, um, and understanding how this country, we've talked about DEI in the past. We've talked about wokeness. We've talked about the disparate issues that this country has with black people in general. Um, it's one of those issues that the right, and I'm not gonna say the right proper, but the MAGA part of right looks to racialize, and then they'll turn around when you call them out for it. They're saying we're being racist, even though we can't be racist. But that's another story. Have you, Ms. Dreen, have you heard of that one? That situation?
Which one? Where they turn around and try to make it
The one in
racist?
Charlotte, where
No,
the guy killed the Ukrainian immigrant.
no. When did that happen? Was that today?
It happened last week. It
No,
it happened last week.
no, I haven't.
So with that, a lot of things going on with how we are looking at. The president, in my opinion, is trying to start a type of racialized war so they can do what they're doing, and we're not taking the bait. So he's pulling stunts like going to Chicago, looking at going to New York, what he did in DC, and you're in DC now with the guard out in DC. Do you see him in your area?
Not, nope, not much at all. Not where I am. They're too busy downtown and around the mall and I
So
guess town.
so so they're more like a binky or a whoopee or a safety blanket, a security blanket, pretty much.
Pretty much. Pretty much. They're more like wasting our taxpayer dollars.
So yeah, definitely. They're definitely, but taxpayer dollars only matter when you're talking about poor folks.
Which is the majority of the folks that I
If it's
probably don't fall somewhere along that category.
Yeah, but that money's not to help poor people, but to keep poor people down. That's why they can spend that money and feel, so they can feel better about themselves.
Mhm. Interesting. Interesting.
Just my just my 2 cents on that. So just give me a second in a little pain here, but um Miss Kim, what do you have you heard of those murder? I mean, those unaliving in Charlotte?
Why do we say unaliving instead of murders now? How did that come about? Just, I'm so sorry. I'm curious.
Because you get booted off if you keep saying those words. They look for those words.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that's why, when it comes to those type of words, they look like EPAR. I've spelled EPAR backwards. So they say grape, red rum, unaliving, things like that. Schmexual, inappropriate child touching, stuff like that. Those are the workarounds to the vernacular that you can use on the social media streets because people are looking for excuses to cut certain speeches off and certain ways we do things. Um, I just look at it as we are being censored, even though there's such a thing called the First Amendment. The First Amendment wasn't meant for black folks. I believe that. Well, neither was the Second Amendment, but a lot of times we don't want to hear that because we think we have rights. But Roger Taney back in 1857 in the Dred Scott case said, a black person uh, um, has no expectation of rights when it comes to white people. So I'm paraphrasing there. I'm not a constitutional historian, but that was basically they didn't have to respect our rights. We have privileges. Um, and that's kind of where we are. They have rights, we have privileges. That's just my opinion. Apple, what do you think if if um if the president did his thing in New York City, how do you think that would go?
I don't think it'll go well for him. I think it's going to be a lot of civil unrest. Um, Even though we're supposed to ignore it and just let them do what it do and don't take to the streets, I don't think New Yorkers, especially the white tea population, is going to take it lightly because they feel like they are too progressive for it. It may not be us that hits the streets, but I don't think like the whole of New York City at least is gonna take it lightly. They're gonna fight back. That's just my opinion though.
Yeah, but they won't go to Brooklyn to Little Russia and I mean, the places where we know there are unregistered European people.
Oh no, definitely. They're gonna stick to Spanish Harlem, Harlem itself. Uh I doubt if they go to the Bronx. The Bronx. Well, they may. I'm not gonna say doubt it. They may go to the Bronx, but they're gonna leave like and maybe some parts of Queens, like Forest Hills and things like that. The suburbs. They may or may not come to Far Rockaway because
Yeah,
there's the big
yeah. Oh, they're not going to Forest Hills. Y- you know that.
and
Or
yeah,
to the
and
East
here in Far
East
Rockaway we have
Bronx
a
or
yeah, we have a big
Astoria.
population
Really?
um in Far Rockaway of undocumented Europeans. And I told you that during election day, a lot of them came out. Um, so I doubt if they come here because even though it's a large minority population, it's even bigger with the other side, if you catch my meaning. Like, Rockaway Park and further up. So I doubt if they do that.
Yes, I definitely catch your meaning. That's just how, I mean, we understand that's how it is, but they like to talk out both sides of their mouth. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Big Al, what's going on with you?
Not a whole lot. I'm just getting in from a co-ed Bible study.
Said
We
today
call
we're just a general subject today.
okay. Yeah, we call it he said, she said. So very interesting discussion.
And
Right now,
you
I guess
know, you're in Augusta, Georgia. What do you think they're not gonna, well, since they did that raid down there at the Hyundai plant, how do you think that's gonna affect immigration now that South Korea is basically gonna pull out of Georgia?
uh, well, what's going to happen? It's going to take a economic toll. And when you look at the taxes that those employees were paying and the
And they
economic,
hit those people's pockets,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
you know.
Employees were paying and the
And they
economic,
hit those people's pockets,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
you know.
Seem like there's an echo.
And they hit those people's pockets,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
you know. It is.
Seem
I'm,
like
I'm
there's an
having
echo.
difficulties today.
Okay.
You're gonna have to see a little delay. I gotta cut off everything, but I can't hear, so I gotta listen. So there's going to be a little echo. I apologize for that. I gotta be smarter than the equipment. Cut off everything, but I can't hear, so I gotta listen. So there's going to be a little echo. I apologize for that. I gotta be smarter than the equipment. Cut off everything, but I can't hear, so I gotta listen. So there's going to be a little echo. I apologize for that. I got to be smarter than the equipment. But have they talked about how much money they're expected to lose in Georgia?
Uh, it's right now they're talking about an annual impact in the community of upward of $53 million.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I need you blue state liberals to stop calling the farmers who voted for their own.
So how was that? I mean,
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I need you blue state liberals to stop calling the farmers who voted for their own.
so what is that going to do with how everything's going to go?
Well, I think it's going to bring
What is
awareness.
that going to do with how everything's
And
going to
with
go?
that awareness, when you look at taking that amount of money out of the tax base, it's going to affect law enforcement. It's going to impact first responders, fire, and a lot of things that not only impact people of color, but Caucasian Europeans as well. And once it starts hitting them, then that's the real reality check, which is going to spur for change. And once it starts hitting them, then that's the real reality check, which is going to spur for change.
Yes, I agree. And they're gonna start hurting their pockets. But this is the crazy part. They want the money, but they don't want the people. They're gonna start
Yeah.
hurting their pockets. But this is the crazy part. They want the money, but they don't want the people.
Yeah, and we got a major hospital project here in Columbia County that's going to be impacted by that, and there are several other major construction projects that are funded through state tax revenue, a new governmental building, and many other high dollar buildings that are impacted by the local tax base, and that's going to have a big impact. And we're also talking about eliminating state taxes for military retired pay. And you know, Georgia is a very large retired military community. So you take that out of the tax base, and then you have these ice raids that are shutting down plants. It's going to have a snowball effect. And then you have these ice raids that are shutting down plants. It's going to have a snowball effect.
Yes, I call that shooting yourself in the foot.
Yes.
Yes, I call that. And Georgia seemed to be doing that very well. It
Yes.
and Georgia seemed to be doing that very I was going to say, Governor Kemp has not done a awful job, even though people he put in position are not the best. However, I don't know if Georgia is going to be ready for another Democrat governor. However, I don't know if Georgia is going to be
I
ready
think
for
it's
another
too red.
Democrat governor. However, I don't know if
Yeah.
Georgia
Stacey Abrams was the closest that we got. But if you remember, she was running against now Governor Kemp, who purged 185,000 people from the voting registration rolls. And you know, those were people of color like us and people who had previously voted Democratic. And you know, those were people of color like us and people who had previously voted Democratic.
I agree. The biggest issue with that is they're going to try to redistrict. I can see it now, but it's the biggest issue with that is you need a strong candidate in Georgia. I can see it now, but it's the biggest issue with that is you need a strong candidate in Georgia. I can see it now, but it's you need a strong candidate in Georgia. But Miss Sum, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. I just
But Miss Sum,
saw
how are you doing today?
did a little bit of research on the young lady who passed away on a train. And what I found out was that the gentleman had been arrested 14 times, and his mother said he was schizophrenic. So these are all facts. 14 times, and his mother said he was schizophrenic. So these are all facts.
Yeah, I agree, and that's the thing is that we just we don't see it like we see it like that, but that's not what the people are going to see it as. We just
And then also too, I saw like a they
we
have a
don't see it
clip
like we
of
see it
what
like that,
happened,
but that's not what
and
people are
the
going to see
young
it
lady is
as.
sitting there, and he obviously struck her, but you could see her crying afterwards. So I'm just curious, when did she pass? Because she's sitting there crying after she got struck. sitting there crying after she got struck.
I don't know how that's gonna go, but we we just gonna have to wait and see. But not that's not what the base wants. We we just gonna have to wait and see. But not that's not what the base wants. We we just gonna have to wait and see. But not that's not what the base wants. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to cut this a little short today. There's just too many issues going on. I guess this what happens when things don't go right. I appreciate everybody who's come on tonight. Like I said, I'm gonna cut this one short. I would say my usual, but I'm not gonna insult anybody with my situation. I just ask that you pray for me, pray for my family, and next Tuesday, I should have everything together. Y'all have a great evening, and thank y'all for coming on to the corner.